Welcome to St. Andrews Institute of Technology and Management. This college is affiliated to Maharshi Dayanand University, Rohtak and approved by All India Council for Technical Education. This video lecture is a part of series developed for online classes. Hello everyone, my name is Ashish Tripathi and I am working as an assistant professor at St. Andrews Institute of Technology and Management since 2015. My areas of interest are data analysis and data visualization, which are recommended to be a data scientist. Let's begin our journey for the course Object-Oriented Programming using C++. In today's session, we will study about the exceptions, template, string and iterators of Unit 4 of the course. Exceptions. An exception is a problem that arises during the execution of a program. Exceptions are runtime anomalies or unusual conditions that a program may encounter while executing. Exceptions are of two kinds: synchronous exceptions and asynchronous exceptions. Errors which occur due to program logic, like out-of-range index, are called synchronous exceptions. Errors that are caused by events beyond the control of the program, like keyboard interrupt, are called asynchronous exceptions. Exception handling. The purpose of exception handling mechanism is to provide means to detect and report an exceptional circumstance so that appropriate action can be taken. It is based on the following steps. First, find the problem, that is, hit the exception. Second, inform that an error has occurred, that is, throw the exception. Third, receive the error information, that is, catch the exception. And fourth, take corrective measures, that is, handle the exception. Exceptions provide a way to transfer control from one part of a program to another. C++ exception handling is built upon the three keywords, that is, try, catch and throw. Throw. A program throws an exception when a problem shows up. This is done by using the throw keyword. Catch. A program catches an exception with an exception handler at the place in a program where you want to handle the problem. The catch keyword indicates the catching of an exception. Try. A try block identifies a block of code for which particular exceptions will be activated. It is followed by one or more catch blocks. Code with try-catch block is referred to as a protected code, and the syntax for using try-catch block is as follows: try, then the curly brackets, in between those there is a protected code. Next, there are multiple catch statements having the exception name. The catch block must immediately follow the try block that throws the exception. Throwing exceptions. Exception can be thrown anywhere within a code block using the throw statement. The operand of the throw statement determines a type for the exception and can be any expression, and type of the result of the expression determines the type of the exception thrown. The operand object can be of any type including the constant. Example: throw bracket exception, throw exception and simply throw. Catching exceptions. The catch block follows the try block, catches any exception. Catch, type, argument, and statement for managing the exceptions. The type indicates the type of exception that a catch block handles. The catch statement catches an exception whose type matches with the type of the catch argument. Due to mismatch, if an exception is not caught, abnormal program termination will occur with the help of abort function. If a catch block can handle any type of exception that is thrown in a try block, we must put an ellipsis between the parentheses enclosing the exception declaration as follows: catch ... The following is an example which throws a division by zero exception and we catch it in the catch block. Hash include IOStream using namespace std. Then we have a function named the division which returns a double type. It has an argument of integer type a and b. If b equals to 0, then it throws a division by 0 error, and otherwise it returns the a division by b. In the main function, we have two variables of integer type x and y having the values 50 and 0 respectively. We also define a variable z of the double type. Inside the try block, we perform the division by calling the division function of x and y. If there is an error, then it will be thrown towards the catch block with the message. Because we are raising an exception of the type constant character asterisk, so while catching the exception we have to use the constant character asterisk in the catch block. If we compile and run the above code, this would produce the following result. Because the y value is 0, so there will be a exception of division by 0 condition. This is also an example for the exception. In this, we have defined a function named test. In this, we have made a try block and some conditions. Like if x double equal to 1, then we throw the value of x, that is an integer. Otherwise, if x double equal to 0, we throw a character of the x type. Then if x is double equal to -1, we throw 1.0, that is our double value. For this we have the catching blocks, like the first catch is of character type which says caught a character. The second catch is of integer type which says caught an integer. The third catch is of double type which says caught a double. And the fourth catch is consisting of ellipses so that it can handle any type of exception and will throw the error as caught all exceptions. From the main, we call this test function with the respective kinds. Like firstly, we pass the argument 1 with the test value so that it throws an integer type. Secondly, we pass the value of 0 in the test so that it throws the character type exception. And thirdly, we pass the -1 value in the test so that it can cause a double type exception. This example says that we can readily throw any type of constant value in the exception. C++ standard exceptions. C++ provide a list of standard exceptions defined in which we can use in our program. These are arranged in a parent-child class hierarchy shown below. Likewise, there is a top model for std exception, Below that there is some bad allocation, bad casting, bad type ID, exception of bad, logic failure and runtime exception. Logic failure again consists of the following exceptions like domain error, invalid argument, length error and out of range error for the array. In the runtime error, we have overflow error for the range condition, then the range error and underflow error. These occur for the memory blocks. So it begins with the parent-child class hierarchy of the exception in the standard C++ exception. We can define our own exceptions by inheriting and overriding the exception class functionality. Following is the example which shows how we can use std_exception class to implement our own exception in the standard way. For example, here is a structure of myException and which is clearly extending the class exception publicly. In this, we have made a function throw which returns a constant character type what and constant throw function. It returns a message C++ exception. Inside the main, we have a try block which consists of a statement throw myException. So in this statement, we are just calling the myException structure exception. Then we have a catch block which is holding the myException type casting and it is generating a standard output like myException caught and also calling the what function from the myException so that we have the following result as myException caught and C++ exception. Here is a class called error having two data members of integer type that is a error code and a character type that is a error description. Inside the public section we are making a constructor of the class error having two arguments as integer C and character D. We are assigning the error code to the C and error description to the D. Then we have a error display method which is counting the message as error code equal to err underscore code and error description equal to err underscore desc. Inside the main function we are having a try block which is throwing the error by calling the constructor of the error class as error and passing the arguments 99 and test exception as the arguments. Then we have a catch block which is handling the error type of exception. Inside it we have a display for the caught and exception and we are also calling the error display function of the class error. Templates. Templates are the foundation of generic programming, which involves writing code in a way that is independent of any particular type. A template is a blueprint or formula for creating a generic class or a function and thus provide generic programming. A template can be considered as a kind of a macro when an object of a specific type is defined for actual use. The template definition for that class is substituted with the required data type. Since a template is defined with the parameter that would be replaced by a specified data type at the time of actual use of the class or the function. The template are sometimes called parameterized class or the function. Here is a function template. The general form of a template function definition is shown here, like we have to write the template keyword followed by the angular bracket and having the class and the t variable. Then we have a return type, function name and argument of type t. In this we are making a template function called the swap. The swap function before line is having a template of class t and inside the swap function we have the arguments of type t that is x and y passed by reference. Inside the function we have defined a temporary variable and it is having the value x. then we are just manipulating the value of y into x and temp into y. That is, we are just doing the swapping procedure. Again we have a function called fun having the 4 arguments, that is of 2 integer type m and n and 2 float types a and b. We are calling swap randomly by passing the values of m and n and a and b respectively one by one, that is the before call and after call. We also have a main function that is passing the values 100, 200, 11.22 and 33.44 to the function fun. Here we are getting the output respectively from the swap function. It shows that the swap function is able to handle when we are passing the integer or we are passing the double values or the float values. That is, irrespective of the type, it is just doing the generic functionality, that is of swapping the two values. A function generated from a function template is called the template function. We can use more than one generic data type in the template statement using a comma separated list as shown. Like the template classes, we can use more than one generic data type in the template statement using a comma separated list like template class t1, comma class t2 and so on. Then we follow with the function definition like return type, function name and the arguments of the type t1, t2, etc. Here is an example to show the two generic type in the template function. We have made a template function called display having the two data types, that is t1 x and t2 of y. Then we are just displaying those values of x and y. Inside the main we are calling this display function for two times, one with the value of 199 and comma ebg as the character value, and secondly we are passing 12.34, that is the float value, and 1234 as the integer value. We are getting the respective answer from the output. Overloading of template functions. A template function may be overloaded either by template functions or by ordinary function of the same name. In such cases, the overloading resolution is accomplished as follows. Call an ordinary function that has an exact match. Call a template function could be created with the exact match. Try normal overloading resolution to ordinary functions and call the one that matches. Here is an example for overloading of template function. We have defined two display function. One is a template display function and the other is a normal display function having the integer data type. Then in the main we are calling the display function first with the integer value of 100, and the display function integer normal display function will be called for that statement. Again, if we are calling the display function with the float value or the character value, then the display function of the template type will be called here. Class template. A class created from a class template is called the template class. The general form of a generic class declaration is shown here. Template, then angular bracket, class t variable. Below it we have to write the class keyword followed by the class name. This process of creating a specific class from a class template is called the instantiation. We can define more than one generic data type by using a comma separated list. Here is an example for the class template. Here we have made a class test which is a template class. Below it we have defined the two data members a and b of the t1 and t2 data type. Then we have a constructor called the test in which we have passed the two arguments x and y of the data type t1 and t2 respectively. We assign the values a to x and b to y. Then we have a function show which is just displaying the values of a and b. Inside the main we are just instantiating with the float and the integer data type, that is we are passing the values of as a float and an integer to the test class. Again we are just passing the values of integer and character to the test class. The test class will be assigned the generic data types as passed by the main function. STL library. The C++ STL, that is Standard Template Library, is a powerful set of C++ template classes to provide general purpose classes and functions with templates that implement many popular and commonly used algorithms and data structures like vectors, lists, queues, and stacks. At the core of the C++ Standard Template Library are the following three structured components, that is the containers, algorithms, and iterators. Inside the containers are used to manage collection of objects of a certain kind. There are several different types of containers like DQ, list, vector, map, etc. Algorithms act on the containers. They provide the means by which you will perform initialization, sorting, searching, and transforming of the content of the containers. Iterators are used to step through the elements of the collection of the objects. These collections may be containers or the subset of containers. The collection of generic classes and functions is called the Standard Template Library. STL components are now a part of Standard C++ Library and are defined in the namespace std. Container. A container is an object that actually stores the data. It is a way data is organized in memory. The STL has 10 containers which are grouped into three categories. Sequence container, that is a vector, DQ, list. Associative container, that is set, multiset, map, and multimap. Derived container, that is a stack, queue, and priority queue. Here is a list of containers having the description and the header file with the iterators used. The first one is the vector. A vector is a dynamic array which allows insertion and deletion at the back. It permits the direct access to any element. It is defined inside the header file vector, and we can use at the iterator random access so that we can randomly access any index of the data. Next is the list container. A list container is a bidirectional linear list which allows insertion and deletion anywhere in the list. It is defined inside the header file list and it has a bidirectional iterator. Next is the DQ, a double-ended queue. Allow insertions and deletion at both the ends. It permits the direct access to any element. It is inside the header file DQ and it permits the random access iterator. Next is the set. And a set is an associative container for storing unique set values. No duplicate items are allowed inside the set. It is declared inside the header file set and it has the bidirectional iterator. Multiset is also an associative container for storing non-unique set. Duplicate values are allowed inside the multiset. It is also defined inside the header file set and it also has the bidirectional iterator. Next container is the map. A map is an associative container for storing the unique key value pairs. It allows the key based lookup. It is defined under the header file map. It also has the bidirectional iterator. Next container is the multi-map. A multi-map is an associative container for storing the key value pairs. It allows the key based lookup. It has the many items inside it. It is also defined inside the header file map. It has the iterator bidirectional. Next container is a stack, which is a standard stack having the push and pop functionality defined inside the header file stack. It has no iteration. Similarly, queue is also a standard queue having the front and rear positions. It is decided under the header file queue. It has no iteration. And the last is the priority queue, which has the first element of the highest priority. It is defined inside the header file queue. It also has no iteration. Algorithms. Algorithms are the functions that can be used generally across a variety of containers for processing their contents. They are standalone template functions. STL algorithms can be categorized as retrieve or non-mutating algorithms, mutating algorithms, sorting algorithms, set algorithms, and relational algorithms. Here, the retrieve or non-mutating algorithms are generally used to retrieve the values from the set, especially from the vectors or the arrays. Mutating algorithms are used to manipulate the values inside the collections. Sorting algorithms are used to index out in the ascending or the descending orders. Set algorithms are used to perform the symmetric difference or insertion or the common points among the set values. Relational algorithms are used to set out the relation between the collections. Likewise, the two arrays are of same type or not. These are done in the algorithms. Iterators. Iterators behave like pointers and are used to access the container elements. There are 5 types of iterators. That is the input iterator. Input iterator works in the linear fashion and it always does in the forward direction. It is a read-only capability. It cannot be saved. That means from the input iterator you can move in the forward direction so that it can read out the values in the collection and the values cannot be saved there. Output operator. Output iterator always moved in the forward direction. It has the write capability. That means it writes into the collection. Forward iterator also moves in the forward direction. It had both the read and write capability. It can be saved also. Bidirectional access method has the linear and the direction can be forward as well as the backward. It has the capability of reading and writing to a collection. The read and write items can be saved. Random iterator moves in the random order, but it can be traced back to the forward as well as the backward direction. It has the reading and writing capability and the items read or write can be saved. The C++ standard library can be categorized into 2 parts. The standard function library. This library consists of general purpose standalone functions that are not part of any class. The function library is inherited from the C. Second is the object-oriented class library. This is a collection of classes and associated functions. Likewise, we have the vector class, stack class, queue class, etc. The standard function library is divided into the following categories. Likewise, we have input-output, string and character handling, mathematical, time, date, localization, dynamic allocation, miscellaneous, and wide character functions. The object-oriented class library defines an extensive set of classes that provide support for a number of common activities including input-output, strings, and numeric processing. This library includes the following: the standard C++ input-output classes. Likewise, we have the file input stream, file output stream, buffer reader, etc. The string classes, the numeric classes, the STL container classes, vector, queue, dequeue, STL algorithms, likewise the sorting algorithm, indexing algorithms, the STL function objects. Likewise, we have STL iterators, STL allocators, the localization library, exception handling classes, and miscellaneous support library. With this, we come to end of the today's session. Hope you have learned what has been taught to you. Here are some of the questions regarding the today's session, that is, what is exception, how you can handle exceptions in C++. Second question is, write a program to generate user defined exception for age less than 0 and also handle it. Third question is, What is a template? Define class and function template in C++. Fourth question is, what is C++ standard template library? How it is classified? Thanks for watching my video. Hope you have learned and enjoyed the course of C++. This is the end session of this course. If you have any doubt, you can contact me on the given number and solve your queries. You need to submit some of the assignment and the questions which have been taught to you in the previous lectures as well. Till then, take care and goodbye.